Welcome to another exciting episode of the Luminary Panel, the entrepreneurial podcast where we fuel minds with insights and inspirations. My name is Liliana Fidoa, and today we have a very special guest joining us, Ayman Shamaa. Ayman is not only a seasoned business professional with over 7 years of experience, but he's also a dynamic entrepreneur with multiple successful ventures. His passion for community and entrepreneurship drives his work, making him a true luminary in the business world. Join us as Ayman shares his insights, experiences, and wisdom that can inspire and empower us all. Let's dive into this enlightening conversation with Ayman Shamaa. Hi everyone, welcome to episode 2 of season 2 of the Luminary Panel. And before we begin, make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms at the Luminary Panel on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Today we have a very special guest here with us, Ayman Shamaa. He is an entrepreneur in the Orlando area and has several businesses that we're so excited to get into today. One being SCG and the other being Co Space and Clubhouse, which we are actually in right now. And we as the Luminary Panel are so grateful to him for letting us use this space for not only our podcast, but also our events. So I'm so excited to kind of let everyone get to know you a bit more and your story and how you got here. So kind of to start with, can you give us a little bit more of background on who you are and how you got here today?
Absolutely. Thank you for the lovely introduction. That was
course.
very warm. I appreciate the hospitality.
Yeah, well, thank you for letting us be here. So we're excited to be here in your studio and enjoying the space for sure. Bringing us off of Zoom.
That's
so
right.
That's
right.
exciting.
That's right. Well,
in real life.
The pleasure is all mine. What you guys are doing in the Luminary Panel is so incredible. And I love to see how far Johnson has come, how far you've come, and Ben and all of you guys working together. So it's honestly been a privilege to watch you guys grow as fast as you guys have. And the message you guys are putting out there for entrepreneurs, especially the aspiring entrepreneurs, is so incredible. So I think you guys are doing a lot of good, and I think you're really helping more people than you even realize, and you guys are really just getting started.
Well, that was super warm as well. I'm excited to get into this because honestly, for anyone who hasn't been to our events before, we actually have them here at Co Space, and it's kind of cultivated such a great community because we brought all these people from online in person, which has been amazing. So we're excited to continue doing that as well. So thank you again for letting us be in this space.
Of course, you're welcome. To answer your original question, I own Shamaa Consultant Group, which is a business development consulting firm. I've been in the space in consulting for going on 14 years, and then I've been doing it under my own name for about 7 years now. And it's been such an amazing journey in the sense I've got to see so many businesses behind closed doors. And when you get to see a lot of different businesses, you start to notice patterns. And those patterns are obviously built around the psychology of someone, whether it's intrinsic or extrinsic, really varies on who the leadership is, but you start to see things in a way that you're able to now understand why things happen in business.
Okay.
So when I got to really get to a place of being able to articulate that well, I wanted to share that. It was almost like figuring out a solution to something that so many people struggled with. And I was like, okay, there's got to be a way to help other people do this, because most companies that hire us, I mean, it's pretty expensive to bring a consultant on. And so I wanted to find a way to bridge that gap and really just take that barrier of entry down. And honestly, one of the things that formulated to that was Co Space and Clubhouse. And I wanted to have a spot that everybody could come to and entrepreneurs could discuss things and could be in a fostering environment, with the perfect amount of sun, the perfect amount of water, and the perfect amount of collaboration. And seeing how many people have either been introduced to someone that they wouldn't normally have met before, have actually done business under this roof, or have gotten a job that they wanted to get and then found out that someone knew someone else. I mean, those are the moments where I sit back and I'm like, oh, that's so validating, because that's what I wanted to build. And it's so amazing to see everything come together. And I own a few other businesses, but those two are definitely my most favorite. I think this one is my most favorite now.
Okay. Shout out to one of our sponsors, Co Space and Clubhouse. As you guys know, we did the Luminary Panel Season 1 on Zoom, and so we were looking for a podcast studio to film. And now here I am in Co Space and Clubhouse, and here they have multiple rooms, one being the lounge, a conference room, and a podcast studio. They serve many different beverages, including tea, coffee, and kava. And their main mission is to be a place where people can come together and work together. So if you can, stop by. It's right outside of downtown Orlando, and it's a great place to work and meet others. Hope you try it. Okay, we have that on record.
Yeah, we got that on record.
Yep. No, but honestly, like, it's so crazy for everyone watching this as well. It's a Saturday, and it's filled in here. We've got people collaborating and working, even though we're off the normal work week.
That's
so
right.
That must be, credit to you too. You're seeing it kind of flourish, which is amazing.
It's the people, honestly. As the owner and the leader of my team, I can only tell them what the vision is. But honestly, you attract the energy you put out. And so
live by that.
Right. And my energy behind, Z was just so pure. And same thing with my business partners. And there was so much love that was put into this space. And we really wanted nothing but building a fostering environment. And I think so many people that come in feel that, and they can tell the authenticity behind that. Right. And I mean, everybody owns and operates a business to make money, and that's great and all. But, there's certain businesses I think are for the betterment. And I think when you carry that energy as a leader, it really trickles down. And so I say all that to say that we are so blessed, honestly, to have such a good group of people here. Even outside, when we were all like talking together, like there's just so much commonality behind everybody from a value perspective, from an education perspective, from an experience perspective. And you don't really find that anywhere else. And I think that's a piece of it that like thoroughly I enjoy the most.
No, and I think that's such a core part of it because, you come here every day and you want to enjoy the people that are around you too. So kind of in that same way, the energy is so important in the space that you're working in, that you're walking into, that you're cultivating for others. So I definitely love that aspect of it as well. And kind of going more into your entrepreneurship life, I feel like you are very experienced in what you do. So for the people who are just starting out, what are like 3 tips that you can give them as to how to start on a great foundation and kind of, I know there's a lack of, I guess, community in this space. So how can they find these people? How can they collaborate? What, in your words, would be a great kind of place to start?
Great question. Fundamentally, I believe, and you'll hear me say this at a lot of events that I speak at, entrepreneurship is disguised as self-development. You'll never become a great entrepreneur if you don't have the self-awareness of knowing where your areas of growth are and what your areas of expertise are. So an example of that is if you have somebody who is very gifted strategically, very analytical, right? But they may not be as comfortable around people, then it's good for you to know that whenever it comes to like things of like paperwork or strategies or like maybe presentations that have to do with numbers, those are the rooms you want to get into. Maybe it's not getting into a room full of people. But if you don't understand yourself, then a lot of times you're a fish out of water. And I think entrepreneurs that are starting out figure that out and blame it on extrinsic problems when honestly they haven't found an environment that they thrive in. So I think the biggest piece of it is look at yourself and try to figure out really where your strengths are. There's a phenomenal resource that I use with every single client. It's called the Gallup Strength Finder Assessment. And this assessment actually allows you to answer an array of questions, and it gives you themes. And there's 34 themes, and they're all based on your strengths. None of them are weaknesses.
Oh, wow.
Your top 5 you do without even thinking, right? So they're like your natural talents on what you would do. Your 6 through 10 themes are what you do post-secondary to that. So the analogy I use, if I throw a ball at you, Liliana, like you may catch it, right? Yeah, right?
Got to get ready, squared up, like do the whole thing.
That's right. And you don't even, like, look at that. You didn't even hesitate to say that. You said, got to catch it, right? And what
so it doesn't hit me, we got to defend.
That's right. You got to defend the moneymaker.
Yeah, of course.
Right? And then someone else might be like, hey, I'm going to move out of the way, right? Because they don't want to get hit. Neither one of those is right or wrong. It's just how you move. So those themes then show you that, right? And so like the whole point of this assessment, it's a wonderful assessment. I've literally been using it going on 10 years now.
Okay.
And really it comes down to the 4 domains of strength. So these themes are like charted in a way to show you your domain of strength. There's relationship building, executing, strategic thinking, and influencing. Most people are very competent in 2 of those domains, and then they pair well with someone else that has 2 other domains that they do not. And the reason why I say pair rather than lack is because people have different talents, and your job is to find those people that have the talents that you do not have so that you guys can build a unity. So I always recommend to everyone the Gallup Strength Finder assessment. It's amazing. I've been
Everyone
working
make
with
sure
them.
you look into it, because
That's
it's
right.
definitely a great resource, because I know everyone's always wondering where they can go for these things. So replay the last minute. You'll get it. So
That's right. So I think that's a really good start to answer your question. I think that foundation of understanding thyself really helps with that. And then I also think once you have that, getting into a room with other people that are like-minded to you.
Oh, that's great.
Right?
Yeah.
So being able to find that like community of what you're doing, because it really is true. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, find a group or find a tribe that are echoing the same message. And it's really true in the sense that when you find people that have a lot of alignment with you, business is all about alignment. And so being in different rooms, going to networking events, going to conferences, investing in yourself, all of those things are such a complement of that first point. So if you notice a trend, both of the first two answers I gave were about interpersonal growth. And through that, it's really funny. You'll find these opportunities rather than you chasing them, you'll start
Right.
attracting them.
Love that. And kind of to the point of networking, because you're also a speaker and you have kind of preached some of this knowledge as well. What advice do you have to others when they don't have a background of networking? What are some skills that they can kind of go to and latch on to enter these situations in a great way?
What's really amazing is I get that question asked all the time. And there is a phenomenal individual who is helping people do exactly that. And if you look up a bunch of courses or any advice tips on networking, there's very few resources around that.
Right.
So you guys got to look up somebody. His name is Caleb Paul, and his company is VIP. And he specializes in teaching aspiring entrepreneurs, seasoned entrepreneurs, professionals, realtors, basically how to leverage networking. And I love his format so much because it's so easily approachable and it's so easily applicable. And he teaches things like the follow-up is like the most important part. And it really is, because in networking, you can go to a networking event, you can collect 100 business cards, but how many of those people did you actually find alignment with, right?
For sure.
Maybe 5. Maybe 5 out of the 100, you're like, I would go grab lunch with that person because there's alignment between us. But then if you don't follow up with that person, then going to that entire networking event was a complete waste of time, right?
No, for sure. And then you've lost that connection in the same regard.
Exactly. And most people don't realize that a connection that you have with someone new has something that's actually called time decay. So if I met you today and I left a very good first impression and we had great conversation, a week from now, you may still remember me. A month from now, you may remember our conversation, but what we didn't exactly talk about.
So true.
Right? A quarter from now, you might be like, oh, I remember his face. I met him at a networking event. And then a year from now, you probably be like, did we meet?
It's crazy how that works.
Right.
The human mind, we forget.
Correct. Time decay.
Yeah.
So your strongest time to form a connection is right after you meet and to follow up. And I think that is where 99% of people lose the ability to grow their overall connection and their overall influence.
So it's like a sweet spot almost. You got to make sure that you jump on that right away so that you don't lose those connections.
100%.
At the Luminary Panel, our mission is to become an immediate resource to you as the aspiring entrepreneur. With that being said, we've partnered with SCG, Shamaa Consultant Group, the business development one-stop shop. They have everything you need as far as marketing, benchmarking, and so much more, so that we, as the Luminary Panel and SCG, can help you thrive in your business. Mr. Ayman, how are you?
Doing great, my man.
Well, listen, man, I am extremely grateful for you being a part of at least the first guest of season 2. The reason why I say that is because we've had conversation off mic, off camera about all of our alignment and our synergy and business and your background, my background. So I'm super excited that you at least said yes to us coming for Luminary Panel. I know it costs like $60,000 to get you on any platform, but hey, I'm very appreciative.
I don't think we've ever started an episode without us laughing before we get into something.
I gotta get better at that, bro.
No, you know what?
Nah.
I love that because that really shows our authenticity and our synergy with everything that we do. And I actually don't know how it took this long to get on this show.
Facts.
I know, like, the first season, you got packed fast, and I was really impressed by that.
Yeah.
So, honestly, it's a long time coming, and honestly, I'm honored and privileged to be on your show, so thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. We're very intentional. That's one of our biggest things for season 1, to be intentional and deliberate for the next season, because we want the show to grow, not just say that we've grown.
You got a lot of power players, man.
Bro.
Everyone that spoke in season 1, you know, obviously a lot of them I know personally. You know, some of them I met through being on your panel, but everybody was so talented at what they did. And finding that is extremely hard to do. And I feel like you did such an incredible job. And kudos to Liliana and Ben as well, because what you guys put together was really seamless.
Thanks, man.
It was really awesome to be a part of.
Yeah. Let's piggyback on, because you've been in business for a while. If you come across a lot of people that are good in social environments, that are actually high-level players, and you got some high-level players that aren't good in social areas.
True.
How do you distinct when to do business with somebody that can be social and not be social, or if they're not social, that they do well in bit? Like, how do you distinct the two, and when you want to do business and partner with them?
So if I'm hearing you correctly, how do I figure out which bucket to put people in as far as professionalism, personally, socially?
Yeah.
Right? Is that what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
I think a lot of times I go and I ask questions, and I try to set correct boundaries with people I work with, right? It'd be no different than if you had an employee that worked for you and then came over your house for dinner, right?
Facts,
That
yeah.
would be a lack of professional boundaries.
Yeah.
So whenever I'm doing business with someone, I just keep them in the professional boundaries and what I call it, that first bucket, right? But in order to do business with somebody, I have to have the right understanding of their integrity, of their values, where they're at, what their relationship is with money. Those are things for me specifically that I have seen through experience, that if you can gauge that correctly, the longevity of that working relationship will go a really long way. Now, by nature, when you're working with someone for a long time, you become friends and you guys build a relationship, and it's actually something that blooms very organically. And a lot of clients of my firm that have been clients of my firm for 3+ years, they are like a part of your family, right? And you guys do holidays together. Whenever you're in town doing a conference, you guys go and get dinner and you get drinks and you hang out and you get cigars. And that's amazing, and that's a part of it. But it's almost something that was earned over time. It wasn't just given from the beginning. So I think it's really good when you're in the professional environment to keep it professional. And then as things organically, and everyone's different, right? You may get synergy with someone much faster than someone else. But as that happens, then being able to progress to a more social way that's very effortless. And I think effortless is the key word there.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people try to force that. And they're like, oh, if I get really cool with this person, I'll be able to do business with them. It's that's not always how it works, right?
Yeah.
It has to come by natural feelings and natural conversations. I mean, look at how many conversations you and I have had off the mic, right? How many conversations of those were really deep and very personal?
Every single one of them.
Right? But we did that truly by nature because we're both very inquisitive and we're both, in my opinion, great conversationalists. I love having conversation with you.
Yeah, you look good too.
Yeah, you too. You too. Do dinner after this?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I feel like all of that plays a part, right?
Yeah.
My exact point. You just literally proved the exact point.
Hey man, it's always fun with me. I think the pivot that we're gonna be making in season 2 is everything is gonna be more authentic.
Correct.
Everything is going to be fun. I'm going to be myself. Liliana is going to be herself. It's going to be a real connection where people that are aspiring to be in your seat can understand that you can do business and have fun at the same time, you know? Man, so there's a lot that you said right there. I'm not taking notes, unfortunately, but for the people that is watching, and our audience is for aspiring entrepreneurs just trying to figure it out, or even aspiring entrepreneurs that's looking to grow, what are some of the things that you did to kind of understand that you were pivoting from aspiring to inspiring entrepreneur?
One specific piece of work that I usually share with my close friends is I already pretended like I was doing it. And not fake it till you make it type of thing. I mean, I thought how I would think if I owned a business. I thought how I would think if I had employees. I thought how I would think if I met someone at a coffee shop and I wanted to sell myself. I began every day by literally thinking those things. So when the time came, it was already like I've done it for a while. So I would go and I'd be very, very proud to talk about what it is that I was doing. And I think that is literally a piece that a lot of people miss as aspiring entrepreneurs. They almost don't want to come off like arrogant, or they don't want to come off like they're selfishly like boosting what they're doing. But as an entrepreneur, nobody's going to talk about your business like you are. You are a walking billboard for your business. Right? But when you work for a company, it's not the same methodology because they spend millions of dollars in advertising, right? They have their brand everywhere. So you're able to fall back on that. But when it's your business, you got to be selfish.
Yeah.
You got to be out there telling everyone about what it is that you do. Because most people, until you build that notoriety many years down the line, don't know what you do.
What do you think stops people from doing it? Like, they know they have the passion. They say it passionately to their friends and family, but then when they go to these networking events, they stutter, or it doesn't even matter that the stutter is just doesn't come off as confident. What do you think is that blockage?
I think it's the fear of honestly being judged. I think society plays a very big role there, right? And here's why I say this. Let's say, as an example, Liliana were to walk in, and the only thing she would talk about as an example is her outfit, right? Very quickly, she'd probably be like, oh my God, CJ and Ayman think that I'm talking too much about this. I'm going to stop, right? It's a social pressure that is prefaced that if you talk about something for too long, regardless of what it is, that people very quickly will get tired of it. So when you combine money and something new together, there's almost this weird part of you that's like, I don't want this to all be about me. So I'm going to just stop and then let the other person talk. When in actuality, the more you say, the more someone's interested, right? So if I was explaining, a plate of food to you, and I was like, oh yeah, I had a steak dinner last night, it was awesome. You're like, all right, cool, I like steak too, right? But if I was like, CJ, I had this piece of steak that was tender and juicy and moist, and it was like the perfect temperature, and it was like just seasoned crisp, man. But the second you cut into it, it was just like ooze with juice. Immediately, your mouth starts to water because you're visualizing what I'm saying, right?
You said dinner.
I did say dinner. We go to La Cantinas. and we were like, see what I mean though?
Yeah.
But same thing goes for explaining your business. If I just say, as an example, hey, I'm a business consultant, right? You're like, all right, cool. But if I was like, hey, this is what I do, this is what I specialize in, this is the things that we've done for businesses, and also, hey, I own 6 businesses, so I not only preach this stuff, but I practice what I preach, right? You immediately are like, okay, cool, I understand where to place this guy.
Yeah.
But most people don't do that, and it's because I don't think they know how to.
Okay. That brings us to my next point. Because I actually made a video, because we're planning on doing something special for this particular audience. And the video said...
Real special.
Real special. The video started with, you fail because you don't know how to succeed. That's crazy. You want me to say it again?
Yeah, say that again. Say it for me one more time.
Say it again. You fail because you don't know how to succeed. Now, if you had the proper tools and the equipment to get you to the next level, it's a no-brainer to invest in yourself to go ahead and move forward, right?
Very true.
What stops people from doing that? Knowing that the resources are there, or let's say they don't know, at least you could do the footwork to at least look up some things, right? And that's our angle this way, because we don't bring people on to tell us about what they do.
Mm-hmm.
It's about how they got there.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't people know how to do that one thing? They know that the resources are there. The equipment is there. It's about taking action and picking up the toolbox and actually working on the car. What do you think that is, man?
It comes back to the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not having the right teacher.
Mm.
Every single one of us that's in the studio right now, right, have all encountered someone teaching us something, right?
Yeah.
Even everybody that's watching, right? Everybody has encountered a teacher. And the teacher's job is to teach you something that you have not learned before, or have learned but have not executed it properly until you are at a place that is sustainable within that knowledge.
Yep.
Most people that I come across don't either have a good enough mentor that's like available enough, that's in alignment with them. They don't have the resources to maybe invest in themselves. So I call it, YouTube University.
Mm-hmm.
So they spend a lot of time there. But ultimately, it really comes back to you finding the right teacher.
Right.
And that can be somebody that you don't even know, but you consume their content. It could be someone you do know that's friends of your family or friends of friends, or is, a person that works at a dream job or has the lifestyle that you want.
Yeah.
And just asking them to grab coffee and just having conversation with them.
Yeah.
The best part of life is everything you need to know is one question away from you actually knowing it.
Damn. Say it again, man. You remember what you said?
That's all you. I leave that to you. I leave the say it against to you.
Just one time. All right. Cool. God damn, man. Okay.
But it's very true. Everything you do want is literally one question away. And I've seen it from people who are in their 60s and have built multiple businesses and amazing empires to somebody who's literally starting on their first endeavor. But everyone is scared to ask the question. Asking for help it takes an enormous amount of humility, and it takes an enormous amount of self-awareness, and it takes an enormous amount of confidence.
We had that conversation.
We just did.
Yeah.
Literally 2 days ago.
Yeah.
It's true, man. And it's a lot. It is the most common trait that I see in men. The most common trait that I see in men.
Yeah, Liliana asked me a million questions without hesitation.
100%. Look at Avery.
Yeah.
Look at how many questions Avery asked me. I got a lot of love for you, Avery.
All right, I love you too, Liliana. All right, this is going to wrap up this conversation. I think we're going to have to bring them back on because there's a lot that we want to cover. But this is going to be my last question to you, Ayman. And this is going to have, I don't want you to answer it right off the jump. I want you to actually think about the question. So obviously you mentioned earlier, before you got into owning businesses and all this stuff, you acted in the action and your mindset was, I'm already there before I get there. Not in a imposter syndrome way, but you knew, you had a gut feeling that you were going to get there. And I think it came with a vision. Help our audience and help me understand how important your vision was for you to execute and who had the opportunity to reap the benefits from you sticking to your vision.
That's loaded. So I will start by saying the only difference between a dream and a goal is I want to have X, Y, and Z versus I will have X, Y, and Z by the end of the year. If you take that ideology and you place it to I want to do these things because I want to help empower as many people as I can, and I love everything that has to do with entrepreneurship, just like how Liliana were just talking about a moment ago, about when you have the right energy behind something, the universe provides it. You will not chase, you'll attract.
Yep.
And to answer the latter part of your question, let me rephrase that. The best part of my entire journey has been that single-handed decision that I made all those years back to leave a very well-paying company job at a very prestigious firm to then start on this journey. The amount of people that have come into my life and the amount of people that we've been able to help feed their families, learn, grow, it's almost mind-boggling to think about how much power one person can really have if they make a decision for other people in their lives. And your impact doesn't need to be worldwide, right? Mm-hmm. One of my favorite analogies, don't worry about the boat that's across the globe on the other side. Worry about the boat you can see right in front of you that's rocking. Swim over there and help them out. That's in your control, right?
That's good, yeah.
So it's like the same thing goes, man. I don't think I ever understood just how many people I was going to be able to help and impact. And I went on this journey that if I was able to do it for one person, and I really meant that, if I was able to help one person, then, this is a job well done.
Yeah.
And it even ties back to you, right? Ties back to you coming into Z for the first time and us having a conversation and you tell me about your dream and your vision. And I was like, oh my God, I love this. Like my favorite part of the Luminary Panel is that you don't talk about anyone's success, but you just ask them how they got there. Mm-hmm. And that's so different. Every single business podcast or any type of people development podcast always talks about like, oh, well, you did X, Y, and Z in order to get all this money, right? Cool, right? Money's the icing on the cake. It's not the cake. How you got there, the story, the tenacity, the tribulations, what you went through, the mental fortitude, that is the cake, right? And you do such a great job of that.
Thank you.
And you came in all to share that. You came in with great energy. You were extremely enthusiastic about it. And I said, hey, there's a studio. Use it. I'd love to be helpful in any way that I can. I remember you looked at me and you're like, is this dude for real?
Yeah.
Because I remember that look.
Yeah.
And I was like, seriously, whenever you want, use it. And I said it, I think, very nonchalant to you.
Yeah.
And I remember you just looked at me and you're like, what do you want?
Thanks. Yeah, it
Right?
goes back to the point of like male or men have a hard time asking for help.
It's true. It's
But
true. And to that point, that's such a phenomenal question. And I share that, and I especially share that for everyone that's listening, because to bring this full circle, you did ask for help. And you came to me asking for help. So then I knew exactly what I needed to do to support you. I can't create how to support you. You have to ask that.
Yeah.
Right? But you did. And fundamentally, I believe you have been able to utilize that to have amazing events here, have amazing masterminds. You've done a great job with the Luminary Panel. And the decision that you made to ask for help not only benefited you, but it benefited Liliana, Ben, and every single person you've had on your show and every single person that is watching. And so look at already how much impact you've had. And it all started from you asking for help, for you taking a risk, for you talking about it. And so you're the embodiment of the exact question you're asking me.
Damn. I just realized that. That's a question I think could be answered in different ways. And I think people don't understand how powerful the vision is, because if you don't have a vision, you perish. It's like in history, something that's been said in history. But I think after having a vision, you can't have a vision without action, which leaves you stagnant. It goes back to your point. It goes from I want to I will, just based off a decision. That was one of our workshops with Aaron. How you go from I will to I am.
That's right.
And it actually helped us as the Luminary Panel and everybody else that we impact understand the dynamic of going from I will to I am. I wanted them to see it here. So I really appreciate that. And I said last question, but I got one more for you.
Okay.
And this is more so for all of our closing interviews. We take pride in being humble at all costs. The reason why is that because we built the platform by being humble and actually wanting to get knowledge and learn how to grow. Mm-hmm. So our question to you from the Luminary Panel to Ayman Shamaa, how do we continuously grow? Where do we need to improve? What are some things you think we need to focus on more of? Where do you think our sweet spot is? How do we improve at the Luminary Panel?
I mean, from what I've seen as a whole from everyone in your team and the processes that you guys have in place for how you find the right people to come in and actually be a part of the podcast, you're always looking for synergy. I think the biggest challenge for you guys is going to be constantly moving that needle because you've already achieved such a high caliber of people on your show, right? And so it's finding people that not only are at that caliber, maybe a little bit higher. Maybe there's different challenges that they can talk about. So I feel like you guys sticking to that is amazing, but also making sure that fits into the vision, because to your point, a person that lacks vision lacks prosperity. Mm-hmm. And having that vision, it's going to get to a point of what I'm getting at is you're going to have to get on stage.
Yeah.
You're going to have to be
That's
at a
one
place.
Of our goals, ain't it?
Yeah. Right. And what I see, honestly, Johnson, for you and for the team is that you guys are going to grow such an audience within the Luminary Panel, but I think it's going to be so far past you sitting on a chair across someone on a microphone. Mm-hmm. Like, I see you having a vision of having workshops of thousands of people, teaching them things. And I think your target audience is the aspiring entrepreneur, and you have so much to relate to them with that on that I've never really seen anybody be able to have all of those strengths that you do. And you are so real about it, and you are so honest about it, and you are so modest about it. And you have such a bright light behind what you're doing because it's so authentic, and everything that you're doing behind it is like literally for the betterment of people. And I know that firsthand being behind closed doors with you and talking about it. And I've very rarely have come across people at your age that have that understanding, but not only have that understanding, but they're an embodiment of it. Mm-hmm. So I think for you, keep refining that vision. And I would like to see you get to that goal faster than I think you want to get to that goal.
Yeah, I think we will, man.
I think so too.
Well, that concludes the conversation with Mr. Ayman Shamaa. He's actually repping the Orlando Magic because they're doing well. As of this
Game 6. Just took it yesterday.
They just beat the Cavaliers.
That's right.
But thank you guys for watching so much. Hopefully you get so much value from these videos. Make sure you follow us on all social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok. You can listen to us on Spotify. And be looking out for all of our events. Make sure you sign up for our newsletter as well. So, again, this is the Luminary Panel. I'm Chauncey Jennings and my amazing co-host, Liliana Fidowa. And we're out of here.
Do we give them the inside joke?
What is it?
Looks delicious?
No, not yet. Part 2. Part 2.
As we conclude this engaging episode of the Luminary Panel, we extend our gratitude to Ayman Shamaa for sharing his wealth of knowledge and experiences with us. From his insights as a seasoned business consultant to his entrepreneurial endeavors and commitment to the community, Ayman has illuminated the path to success in entrepreneurship. Make sure to follow us on all social media platforms at the Luminary Panel to stay updated on future episodes and insights. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the episode with your network. Your support helps us continue bringing you empowering conversations with leaders like Ayman Shamaa. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, stay inspired and keep striving for success.